Namaste, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their ascension process. And today I'm going to do a video I'm going to title The Stuck Cycle of Ascension and How to Move Forward. This is something that comes on in varying intensities, but there are times where you are quite stuck, as your old self is like playing out in your reality for the last time. As we're closing these long chapters of our previous ego identified lives, it manifests in a way that causes you to be stuck and unhappy and uncertain and bluesy and bleak and melancholy, and you feel actually like there's no way out of your circumstances. They reflect that state of being, and you can sense it's going to take a little while for this to kind of all play out. And the idea of it taking a little while is like, oh, nah, it's not what you want to hear. A lot of people I've been talking to recently are kind of going through this. They're going through a place in their life where what it really is they've had just a massive expansion of awareness, a huge vibrational upgrade, and all of a sudden it's like their life is trying to wrap itself up so it can reflect that upgrade very quickly. But it can seem very overwhelming as you realize how much you hate your job, and also how stuck you are at it, how long it might take to get out of it and to go here. It's going to be quite a climb for you. And this is just one little metaphor. I felt this way when I closed down my gym. I had a situation where I was watching my life just break down. And it was a long, painful process of wrapping up the old stories. It was a lot of closings and endings and grieving, and all the while it was completely unknown to me of how it was going to turn out. It's like my whole life's focus was close all of this up. But there's a part of me that the whole time wanted to be elsewhere, didn't want to be stuck in this cycle of closing, but it was. So I eventually was able to get myself out of that kind of a cycle, and you can too. You're going to regardless, but this video is going to give you some tools that I learned and kind of cultivated while in these types of cycles that I think will benefit you quite a bit right now. Number one, and this is going to seem obvious, but if you do it, it'll be very helpful to you right off the bat. It's to trust, to make the choice to trust. If you don't trust what's happening, that breeds a lot of worry and just inner angst and uncertainty and doubt. But you could look at the same picture and just have the decision to trust that it's going to be okay. This is going to be easier than you might assume. You all have, when this is all playing out, you'll have a knowing. You'll have a connection to your inner guidance, in a sense. A sense that it's all playing out for a reason, for a purpose. But you have no way of validating that, which is why we oftentimes don't choose to trust. Well, I'm just here to say that I'm just one guy who had this exact experience, and even though I didn't trust the whole time, it's proven to me that big endings, phases of being stuck, are temporary experiences. And there's a discernible recognition, feeling, and experience of that being over, you being free, and your life benefiting and ascending to a higher level, making the whole stuck experience worth it. So I'm hoping to convey to you that you can trust. That feeling, that knowing inside of you is always right. It's always spot on. Just trust. Number two is something you can do that will kind of expedite this process. It's not easy to do when life is stacking up seemingly like against you. But what I learned to do is I would start to question why things were. Why are you in debt? Why did you have this gym in the first place? Why this? Why? Rather than resist. Why produce for me answers, epiphanies, insights, revelations, releases. Once you can correlate why your external reality, or what aspect of you is it mirroring for you to see, so you can let go of. Once you make that connection, you let go of the energy that's drawing that experience to you. And even though from this present state where it's there and you're feeling stuck, you can't conceive of a solution. In absence of that energy that's clouding your perception, their solutions are just there, instantly, easily. And then the manifestation that's causing you to seem stuck just dissolves away. Sometimes the stuck-like manifestations only get more unpleasant until we finally, the releases and those conclusions are going to happen automatically. You're going to be fine regardless, but you cannot let them get so out of hand. You cannot be so stuck so long when you just immediately take full responsibility of your life experience and find out your role and part in it, and then release those energies inside of your being, causing them to be there. Number 3 is to do your best to get and stay in the proverbial flow. Get into your vortex. Get into alignment. You all know what I mean. When you're in alignment, the circumstances might not have changed, but you have a feeling of positivity and optimism and momentum, and you have a solution-oriented mindset. And even though the situations are the exact same, you feel confident that it's going to work out. That trust is natural. But it's very easy to get lost so much in the mirror, and fall out of the flow. But nothing's going to happen out of the flow. You're not going to really fix anything or have any revelations out of the flow. And yet it's so hard not to be out of the flow, because life is tough sometimes in the stuck phase or cycle. So during this time in my life, even though my main issues were finances and I should have been like working and stuff, I spent more time than ever doing yoga and meditation and reading and going for walks. I put a lot of time. I did this whole routine about almost 45 minutes long. In fact, I have it. I sell it. It's called Mood Shift. This like total routine I did every day. I did that for about 45 minutes, and I would visualize, and I'd go for long walks. Even though I had no money coming in, that wasn't earning me any money, and that was my manifestation. The debt was racking up. But I knew that I had to be in that alignment, because I was not productive at all, not one iota, when I was in that spiral of negative thinking. I would get myself so depressed and so hopeless in such a short time that there were days where I just spent on the couch, barely able to move, just like just suicidal feeling. I wasn't going to actually do it, but I felt that way. I felt those suicidal feelings, just horrible. And it was just like, when do you want to climb out of this, Vic? You're wallowing now. Nothing's going to come of this. When do you want to finally, how long do you want to suffer? And it was always a choice. Whenever I would go and do one of those things, it was almost like a coming up for a breath of fresh air. And then all of a sudden, I was like, okay. But it was hard. It was hard to stay there. But I did my best, and I found it to be essential to fixing my life situation. Getting and staying in the flow. Take time for yourself. Take time. Do whatever you need to do to get in the flow. Number 4, it's a time to be strong. It's a time to be tough. Not in a conventional, trying to have dominion, conquering sort of mentality. Not at all. More like tough enough to be present in your life. I'm reading this other parenting book right now called The Conscious Parent. And she talks about how the whole book is basically how to transform the parent, knowing that that's what's going to actually help raise the kids. And it talks about how adults primarily have learned to resist and suppress and disallow negative feelings. Negative feelings are just like a wave. They come and go. But we don't want that wave. Children naturally allow the wave, and then they allow it to come. But they learn from the adults to do the opposite. She said, you want your kids to grow up healthy and emotionally sound, then you need yourself to start allowing the negativity, the negative emotions, the waves of intensity. And she said, because when you do that, you can transmute those darker energies and emotions into wisdom. And that wisdom, you'll become very, very wise in this cycle. It sucks to be stuck, I know. But in the stuck cycle, you develop wisdom and toughness and perseverance, so that when you're out of it, you'll have just more resources to bring to the table to help you execute your life theme to the max. It's a time to be tough. It's a time to stay in the flow. It's a time to trust. Anyways, my friends, that's maybe one of the harder aspects of the awakening that I've gone through. There's a lot of challenges, feeling alone and feeling sensitive to people's energies and not ever knowing what's going to happen ever, only having this intuition. But that, when life really seemed to conspire against me and make it almost impossible for me to rise up, and that coupled with my emotional state of stuckness and misery, it was very almost unbearable for me. But now I can look back and see, in that state, that was when I grew the most and the fastest and really transformed to become something I never even knew was possible as a potential version of myself, okay? So anyways, I hope this video helps you guys. Hang in there, be tough, trust. I'll catch y'all next time. Have an amazing day. If you can, namaste.